All right, everyone, welcome back to my Arizona market update on the weekly basic. My name is Longley. I am your local realtor here in the Chandler, Arizona market. And I am looking at the market updates is not only just the information, but also a good tool for me to determine a negotiation strategy because when you understand the market, you know where when you can ask for more and when you can ask for speed, right? So in today's episode, we are going to look at the comparison between buyers and seller. Which cities that in the buyer's market, which cities that in the seller's market. We are going to look at a very interesting trend, and potentially there's a lot of foreigner country looking at Arizona as a good investment location. We are going to talk about some of the buyer advantage in today's market and why condo and townhouse are not a good investment property right now. Okay. Also, last but not least, we are going to talk about the number one most asked question for a lot of renter nowadays: is renting a good buy? Is renting is good compared to the buying to buying a house right now? All right. With that, let's dive right into the information. All right. So everyone, here's a couple of information that I want to share with you about the current market. When we look at the current market, I am normally looking at the Comfort Market Index. That is a very reliable source of data, real estate data provided by Comfort Associates, and they have an index which indicates the condition of the market. Anything that is more than 110 is the seller market. 90 to 110 is a balanced market, and 90 or less is the buyer's market. All right. So today, this week, we see that a negative 2.7% compared to the previous month is actually a reduction, is actually a little bit more negative than previous week, and 2.5% of previous week, right? And this is actually the first week after the 3 week in a row that is a more negative than the previous week, right? Obviously, you see that means the rate has been uh, more dropping more negative. That means dropping more. Okay, meaning the buyers even have more negotiation power in this situation. All right. But obviously, this is just only 1 week. So we're going to continue monitoring it and let you know the situation of the market. All right. The Let's look at only one city that is actually in favorable, moving in favorable of the seller, which is Paradise Valley. And then it's 10% increase. Okay. Uh, but keep in mind that Paradise Valley is a luxury market. Or a lot of houses in Paradise Valley has the price like 1 million. Maybe not everything, not a lot of houses is 1 million, like 2 or 3 or 4 million dollars or more, right? So very limited amount of inventory, limited amount of houses available in Paradise Valley. So it doesn't move the broader market needle much. Okay, so when you look at overall the Phoenix and every cities around it, Paradise Valley, even though it's moving positive toward the seller, it doesn't move the overall market of Phoenix Metro market. Okay, the one that actually have an impact is the two drop cities. One is Phoenix and Buckeye. Both of them has negative 7% drop. That means the buyers in those cities is very happy because they have a very strong negotiation power in those cities. Now, Phoenix, as you know, also a very big cities, right? And in fact, nearly 25% of all real estate activities in Central Arizona is in Phoenix. So the drop of Phoenix is actually a big deal and is moving the needles very strong. Okay, it's influenced the average needle very strong in Arizona, in Phoenix metro area. Right. One city that's actually moving towards the buyer market area, which is Tempe. which is not normal because we already know that Tempe has been weak for the last several weeks and even months, right? So not surprised to me that the Tempe moving to the buyer's market. The surprise to me, however, is that Chandler now is actually in the balanced market. Balanced market is not bad for Chandler, right? Meaning both the buyers and the seller has the same negotiation power, depend on the house, depend on the area, depend on the condition of the property, right? However, though, moving Chandler has been the top of the tables out of the 17 cities, right, for so long that now it's going to the balance, indicating, well, that's a good chance for the buyers who smart looking at the Chandler right now, who is interested in the Chandler area. This is a good chance for you to take advantage because this time may not last forever, right? So overall, the current status of 17 cities across Phoenix metro area, three cities that in the seller's market, six of them is in balanced market, and eight in the buyer's market. More and more actually moving to the buyer's market. 6 and 7 balanced market has been there for about 5 or 6 weeks already. So I'm gonna keep monitoring it to see when the needle change. Right. The next, oh, by the way, if you don't have the information, like if you don't have time to watch the entire video, don't feel that you have to miss it, right? You can always scan the QR code here, and it's going to go to the website right away that has all the information about today market update. Or you can also simply go to Magical Success. Uh, sorry, I don't know how to spell. magical magicalsuccessrealty.com, very simple website. Go to market update section here, and the very first one is the one that we're talking about today episode. All right, so let's move on to the next topic about buyer advantage. Okay, this is the period of time that you see the strongest negotiation power for the buyers in the last, guess what, 16 years. Okay. We haven't seen this much of buyer leverage since March 2009. And obviously, you see, 2009 is the time that there's ton and ton of inventories available on the market, 40,000, 30,000, 35,000 available on the market. In today's market, the inventory is not as plentiful as 2009, but however, it's still plenty. It's still plenty compared to the previous 16 years, right? Both, here's a good news for both parties, right? Both resales and new builds, because I know some of the home buyers just only want to do new build community, and some of the buyers just only want to do resale. Here's the pros and cons, and that is not in the scope of this video to discuss about that. I do have a blog talk about that, so if you're interested, feel free to take a look on my Magical Success Realty website, right? So anyway, let's come back to the videos. Both inventory in both resale and new build area has a strong amount of inventory. Okay, builder nowadays giving aggressive amount of incentive to help with the interest rate buy down. It could be like 5%, or even some of the market, it could be 6.89% interest, not interest rate, but the incentive for the buyers to help with the interest rate buy down. Some of the talking about interest, I received an email from a builder that offering 4.75% interest rate for a house. Only 400,000, 3 bedroom, 2 baths. Okay, so if you're interested in that house, let me know. And that could be an amazing interest rate. Okay, now it doesn't mean that the resale homeowner do not offer the similar. Okay, I saw nowadays that they willing to offer a lot of concession, like 3%, 1.5%, or they even offer fixing all the things in the house, even the roof, the AC. I just closed on the house in Peoria that the buyers actually 3% replace the entire roof, replace the entire 2 new AC system, and the water heater also get repaired as well. So the buyers has a very strong negotiation power in today's market. Okay. So if you're buying in 2025, this is actually your moment. Okay, this is actually your moment because the seller is very motivated. Okay, only the motivated seller putting their house on the market into the market. All right, because they're ready to negotiate. Okay, um, options, plenty of options. That is the key, right? If the seller is motivated and there's no option, what's the point of looking, right? Inventory is also very wide. A lot of inventories on the market nowadays, and you can get upgrades, you can get concession, or even better, a mortgage deal can throw in as well. Some of the seller has a 3%, 4% interest rate, and you can actually assume those mortgage, and that could be another topic, another video discussing about that as well. This is not in the scope of this conversation, but that is something you could and you should take advantage of if that is the case. All right. So uh, uh, talking about deal, okay, we see an interesting hypothesis. Okay, the foreigner investors actually see Arizona as a deal. Now, why is that? What we observe in today in current market, in current economy, is that the US dollar is weakening in some of the country, right? For example, UK is actually 10 consider a 10% off compared to January of 2025. Swiss buyer, if they change the currency from Swiss to dollar amount, they get 11% discount. Canadian 4% discount. Okay, compared to January. So that is a very good side for the investor for the homeowners in Arizona because it's actually attracting a lot of people from different countries to buy, which has a bigger pool of buyers available to buy your house, right? But not too fast. So here's the reality. Okay, most of the Arizona demand is from domestic, is from the country, is within Arizona, within the U.S. So because Arizona is not like a location where has a lot of things attracting a foreigner investor. Most of the time they do something along the beach, along the coast, or maybe some of the good vacation spots that attracting them. Arizona do not. We have Grand Canyon, but it's not like in Phoenix, Arizona, right? It's not in Phoenix here, and it's not as popular as some other vacation locations. So most of the Arizona demand is actually coming from domestic. So don't expect a huge amount of foreign buyers that going to the Arizona market, and maybe it's a good it's good for Arizona market because the currency of those country is stronger compared to the US dollar, but it's not going to be an obvious signal anytime soon. All right. So what about townhouse and condo? We've been talking about this topic for the last 3 weeks already, and we actually gonna look at some other different number. Okay, we see that a single family home, the success rate, that means the chance that a listing gets sold, 72%, 58% only for condo and townhouse, right? Very very low. Okay, and that's the worst since June of 2011. All right. So obviously it's a big drop. And of course, if you own a mobile home, it's even a worse product in Arizona. I'm not talking a lot about mobile homes because it's actually not a common product in Arizona, right? 57% of success listing. Okay. Why is that? I already many times that I repeat this, but the HOA fee in condo and townhouse area is the main reason. Also, the insurance raising, going higher for condo and townhouse as well, adding up to the affordability, well, reducing affordability of the home buyers, and that's the reason why they back out. Okay, that's why they do not have a lot of demand in this segment of housing. All right, the last information that I want to talk about is the question a lot of home buyers, potential home buyers, asking: is renting better than buying in today's market? Okay, the short answer is yes. Okay, and that's rough for everyone, for the seller and for even myself, right? Because obviously right now there's a lot of renting options, and when you run the number, right? The monthly payment if you buy a house is actually way higher than the renting option. So it's very difficult if for an agent to me to explain to a potential prospective home buyers, homeowners to say, yeah, you should go buy. And then by the way, you have to pay higher than renting. Right? Here's the fact: the average rent per square foot is only $1.37 in 2021 for the last 4 years, right? While inflation has jumped nearly 18%, and that inflation, okay, increased the median home price from 400 to 450,000 for the entire Phoenix metro area, right? And but the real value is down when you adjust for the inflation, okay, etc. So with the 30 years mortgage going from 2.84% to 6.89%, right, is making the monthly payment way far higher than renting. Okay. In fact, renting is 15% cheaper than buying in the real terms. Okay. That's why a lot of buyers' demand is weak because they don't see the value in owning the house because they don't have well, sometimes it's not that they don't see it. It's just they cannot afford buying a house right now because it's way too much interest added to their monthly payment. Of course, when you're talking about buying versus renting, making the monthly payment is not the only thing, right? But we strictly in this conversation of today for the purpose of the market update, right? We only looking at number, the monthly payment. There's more value added when you own a house as well. And if you are interested in those information, feel free to DM me directly. More than happy to discuss with you whether buying or renting is a better option for you. Okay. So what should you final thought? So what should you do? Some of the question I have is: will the Phoenix decline drag the rest of the state further into the buyer's market territory? Can new home builders sustain momentum with aggressive incentives? Like, can they just keep going, giving up all the money to the buyers? Will we see a late summer buyer surge or continue a stall in the demand? Right. So it's very difficult. Those are very valid questions, and that's exactly the reason why I'm doing this market updates so that you will be informed in the moment that everything changed. As of right now, we know that the luxury market is going very well in Arizona market, right? The seller is very tight in negotiation, especially in lower and middle tier, less than $1 million home. Okay, the buyer have very strong power than ever for the last 16 years. Okay, um, but they are very cautious and they take time to think about it, to think about their options. That's why the demand is so low right now because now people are still thinking about buying, but they still sidetrack with the renting option. So if you are the buyer, okay, this is the time to negotiate very hard, uh, very hard. Okay, all in your negotiation. The worst case, you might have to wait for a little bit longer, 1 or 2 weeks, but you're gonna be getting the good deal. Don't rush into a transaction. There's no reason for you to rush. You have plenty of options. You have plenty of time to choose. Okay, know your market and be flexible is the advice for the seller. That's all I can say. Price, terms, repairs, those are the things that you should be flexible to be able to help you selling the house in today's market. Thank you everyone for watching today's episode. And if you are interested in receiving the weekly market update, feel free to go to one of my blog sites talking about market update and subscribe to my weekly newsletter. Thank you and have a great day. Bye bye.